get started then.
Sounds good. Let's do this. Good evening, all you Minties, and welcome back to another episode of Reelz Talk with your host, the amazing Amanda, my lovely co-host, the Uncanny Omar.
How's it going, everybody? We are talking about Invincible Season 2, Part 1 today. Love the thumbnail. If you love the thumbnail, that is all thanks to this guy right here, who's apparently Team Amanda. He's watched way too much Twilight lately. I don't know what Amanda's done to get her own team. This ain't the Avengers, man. Yeah. Tickle the like button on your way in. Thank you so much, Phil. Hope you've been doing well. And hey, Lenny Laserdisc, how are you doing?
Lenny.
And also loves the thumbnail. I sometimes wonder if they deliberately designed Mark's costumes so it had the Image logo on it.
You know?
I always wonder that too. And it's really funny because, you know, when Kirkman had that whole thing with Marvel, and he showed up in a Marvel team-up book, it was so weird. Amanda, what's up, Immortal Ipsy? How are you? Please do a quick recap of episode 4. I barely remember what happened in the show. Was slightly faded. I've been working, hadn't watched. Oh, yeah, man, we got it. We got you, dude. We got you. We got you. Howdy. How's it going, Aaron? Aaron, and
thank you,
King flower. You already get a flower. We didn't even.
Yes, I do. Start. And I've got synopses like on like my left here. This is my left. Yeah, my left. You're right. Just so that I can like remember. Because there's a lot of storylines in these
there's two big things happening, right? And then we had the little Adam Eve story.
We have Adam Eve. We have
loading my compendiums to a friend. Everyone seems to love Invincible. I do. It's one of my favorite Image comics. I do wonder how the ending might change, though. I don't want to spoil what happens in the end of the comic, but it was interesting to say the least. So I wonder if they will change the ending depending on the popularity of the show. So we are going to be talking about spoilers too. So I'm going to go ahead and put that up there while Amanda gives her recap of episodes 1 through 4. How long is the season going to be, Amanda?
It's 8 episodes total. Okay. I don't think they announced a release date for the next 4. It's going to be early next year, but I just don't know if they have announced an actual date. Before the episodes aired, they didn't have a specific date in mind. They just said it was going to be early of 2024. So, which kind of sucks. We waited 2 years, I think, for this season to come out, for it to be split up into 2 halves. That's kind of crazy if you think about it. But everyone's trying different things with the way they are going to release their properties, because we just don't have a set way of doing it.
And you got to keep people coming back, right? And if you release everything at once, they're going to cancel their subscription and move on to something else. You got to keep them hooked. You got to get them.
I've already forgot what happened to Stranger Things, so I don't know when that comes out eventually. The next part, I don't even know.
Those kids are going to be so big too. Like I don't know how they're going to fake it. I don't know how they're going to fake it. All them kids are like 6 foot something now.
Yeah, right.
I guess they're gonna have to say, "Look, a time jump happened, and here we are."
And now it's almost 1990. I guess
oh, for real? Yeah. No, seriously, they're gonna have to do like a time jump or something.
The Desert Storm will happen, and then that'll be
the Desert Storm, like Operation Desert Storm. Is that what?
I was trying to think of like a staple thing, like in the early 90s. That's like. Yeah,
not Nirvana, not a change in the music, but you went with Operation
they can listen to Nirvana. Storm. We're all in college and we're listening to Nirvana now.
All right. Let's do it. So tell me about season 2. Where were we in season 1? Where did we leave off? What was the big climactic ending to season 1?
So of course season 1 ended up with everyone finding out that Omni-Man is actually a Viltrumite, and he was actually sent on Earth to prepare it for a Viltrumite invasion. And of course, this all comes to a head when they realize he killed all the Guardians of the Globe, and he has a big, massive fight with Mark. He kills Donald, which is Cecil's right-hand man, Cecil, who's in charge of the GDA. He killed Donald, who was his right-hand man. He calls his wife a pet, which of course Debbie is not having that. And that is something that she kind of revisits a lot in these first 4 episodes, is Debbie dealing with the fact that her husband is not who he was and what he seems. But of course, also for Mark to, figure out, is he going to side with his dad or is he going to be his own hero? And of course, at the end of the day, he is his own hero. And Omni-Man doesn't kill him. He instead kind of escapes and flies off. And so that's kind of how season 1 ended. And then season 2,
dad's like, hey, we're conquerors. You're with me or not with me? And he was like, oh man, there's that famous meme like of his dad like pointing at his head after he leaves Mark a blood, like just this blood pool of a mess. Yeah. And then
exactly. Season 2. So it's really interesting because season 2 starts off with with Mark fighting Immortal. No, not Immortal. What was the other gentleman's name? Who was it? Anyway, the superhero, he also died. I forget who it was. It's not Immortal, or was it in the beginning? Anyways, he's fighting a superhero.
You're talking about which character died?
Yeah, he was fighting in the beginning in the alternate universe. Anyways, so we see Mark fighting this superhero, and you're not really quite sure what's going on until you realize this guy someone flies in, he gets his arm cut off, and it's Omni-Man. And we are suddenly in what seems to be an alternate universe where Mark decides to join up with his dad. And you see Earth has just been like, the city's decimated. Everyone's kind of hiding underground. He ends up having to paralyze Adam Eve because she doesn't want to join him. And
dude, that was all. I thought he killed her.
I thought he killed her too. I was so confused when I saw.
So did Omni-Man. Omni-Man thought that he had killed her, and it was Immortal.
It was Immortal. Okay, I was right.
Invincible is what if Frieza didn't destroy planet Vegeta. I always think of what if Goku had actually done the purpose he was sent here for. Because remember, Saiyans were sent out to conquer, and if Goku hadn't been raised by Gohan, his grandfather, would he have gone that way? That's the way I always think of Invincible. But yeah, I love that intro, man. It's very Days of Future Past, right? We've seen that before, a bleak future, and I'm hoping it confused some people going, maybe I need to rewatch season 1 because I don't remember any of this. Did a time jump happen? Did Mark all of a sudden turn evil? What is happening? I love that about that.
Yes. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so as someone who's watched a lot of comic-based shows, I was like, okay, this has to be, there's something to this. This is what's going on. And of course, we've come to realize it is an alternate universe or dimension. I guess they're using the word dimension. And in this opening story, we are introduced to a character named Angstrom Levy, played by Sterling K. Brown, who is a dimension hopper, very smart gentleman, who actually dimension hops into our current universe.
Here we were thinking we were done with the multiverse stories.
No, I know, right?
But that doesn't play a big part in this, honestly.
No, definitely not in the first 4 episodes. I mean, it's just like teased, but it's definitely not a big storyline yet. But I imagine the last 4 episodes we'll start to see something play out. So so we get back into what's going on in our actual universe. Of course, there's still the cleanup of Chicago, and the Guardians of the Globe are out there still fighting. And Mark's kind of like, he's not working with the Guardians of the Globe. He's kind of doing his own thing, dealing with his grief. His mother's also dealing with her grief. She has a very interesting conversation and run-in with Olga, who was that invisible superhero's wife who comes to her house. And I honestly thought she was also going to kill Debbie when she showed up.
Because she had a knife, right?
She had a knife. And then when she made the joke about the poison as she was drinking the wine, I really did think that was going to happen maybe. So Mark is trying to deal with all this. He's getting ready to graduate from high school, and Debbie is trying to move on. Of course, they had to fake Nolan's death. So apparently Nolan died in an explosion, and Mark decides to go back to school. Of course, that's very awkward, but the school bully ends up giving him a hug and things like that.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, I'm sorry your dad died." Okay, didn't see that coming.
Right. Yeah, and so you also start to see, like in the Guardians of the Globes episode, some relationships forming. For example, Robot and Monster Girls, there's a relationship forming there because Robot is in the body of like a young child, and of course we know that Monster Girl is always a child, young girl, if she's not a monster, even though she's like older, right? Because that's just the way her her DNA works. Then we also get introduced back over to Angstrom Levy, and he breaks out the Maulers. Remember those clone gentlemen who keep getting in trouble and keeps getting a new clone and all that stuff. Neither one of them ever knows who's the real clone. And so he breaks them out of the GDA underground prison because they're very smart. He needs their help. And when he brings them back to his layer of sorts, where he has this big old like lab and all these different, like, I think they're all clones of himself, right? Or they're other dimension or other angstroms from other dimensions.
Well, he's pulling people from other versions of himself from other dimensions. Yeah.
Yes. So he has all these different people with all these different knowledges of what's going on, right? And so he's wanting to, get in this, device to use it. And what did he want to use that device for? I'm trying to remember why he was trying to use that device.
Well, he's trying to get everybody's ideas, right? Like all their minds and stuff to kind of collapse into his. And what's really interesting is that he manipulated the two the clones too, because he had gathered other Maulers from across the universe, or across the I hate calling it a multiverse, but I mean that's all across the different Earths. And yes, YP, dude, I love Battle Beast. No spoilers, so Battle Beast is awesome. I can't wait to see who voices Battle Beast in the show. Yeah, so that was the big plan, and of course, Mark decides to join the Guardians, right? Like that's what ends up happening. He's like, you've got me, right? So Cecil sends him out there to go and see what this machine's about, while he's trying to balance this life, like going to college. We also have this wonderful thing going on with, I feel like Debbie's character is kind of expanded in the show, because it's different than the comic book. Like we get to see her explore loss, betrayal, and then coming to terms with what is she like, because she's not only living with an empty nest, her husband has betrayed her in the worst way possible and has calling her a pet, right? Like we mentioned that. So she's dealing with that, and that's when she got that number, right, that she eventually calls. But also Mark's going to college, like her baby's going away. She doesn't know what to do with herself. Yeah,
exactly. And usually that's when you're supposed to be like having your best times with your significant other, but that's not gonna happen.
Or making furniture, whatever the hell people do when kids leave. Michael Dorn, that's a good one, dude. Has Clancy Brown done anything for Invincible? I feel like I know he does.
Yes.
He's Damien Darkblood. That's right. He's Damien Darkblood. Dang it, never mind.
Yeah,
but you know what? He can play multiple characters. He can play multiple characters.
No, he plays the counts.
Debbie's an MVP going through the stages of grief so beautiful, and you see it in the show, and they do it so well. My heart truly broke for her when she got mad about being called a pet. So good. Yeah, holding all that grudge in and then just yelling and letting it all out.
Breaking that cabinet in episode 3.
Dude, it was good. It was good. I like that.
I know. Sandra Oh, I mean, MVP over here as far as
she win an Oscar? She's Oscar winner, right? For Sideways?
Yes, I think she did win an Oscar for Sideways. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, nothing. And what's interesting about Levy's his whole, like, that he wants to find out, he's using all these different ideas from all of his different versions of himself to fix all the plights of the humanity across the multiverse. Isn't that the same thing that Reed Richards did in Fantastic Four?
Yes.
With the Council of Reeds? Is that kind of the
same? Yes, and it's always for a good purpose, right? Like curing cancer or whatever freaking nonsense they try to sell you.
Exactly.
It's all very selfish in the end. But Yeah, that's what the council kind of is, and he's manipulating them along with the clones. But Mark doesn't know that. He's just going to break the machine, even though he's like, no, you don't understand, Invincible. But it doesn't matter because then we go on. Dude, episode 3 felt like the most Invincible.
What an interesting
it felt like the most Invincible comic. Like, because in episode 3, we have sexy time between characters, and that happens a lot in the comics. Like, it doesn't get graphic or anything, right? But it does happen a lot in the comics.
Yeah.
I can't wait till the dad and the bug mom are like making out. And you're like, how does this work? And you're like, oh wait, I don't want to know.
We saw a little bit of like thing going in his mouth, and that was kind of creepy.
Yeah, later on, whenever you see more aliens that show up through here, especially with Alan, the more interesting it gets. So yeah, we need to talk about episode 3, because episode 3 kind of focuses on Mark's life, and I like that the shot of like, or the narration of like, oh well, let's leave them alone and let's go see what's going on elsewhere, and we focus on the character of Alan, who is having his own issues, getting the crap beat out of him by the Viltrumites because there's a snitch. There's a snitch that's throwing, and it turns out to be Peter Cullen. Peter Cullen,
right?
Doing that voice. You immediately recognize it, right? Anybody that grew up in the 80s is like, oh, it's Optimus Prime. It's the narrator from Voltron. It's Eeyore, but yeah.
Yes. And I love, so obviously, yeah, episode 2, again, not much happened with it, just a continuation of the events from episode 1. But episode 3 is the one that they try a really different technique where you start out with Mark's story, but him and Amber have sex for the first time. So they cut away. And then we start Alan's story, but like all brand new, like with his own little intro, which is really cool.
That was good. That was good. I like that. This show, it's not necessarily sticking 100% to the comic book, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
Because it makes me relive scenes, but also get to experience them for the first time. Because there's a lot of iconic scenes from Invincible, the comic book, that have happened on the show. But there's also some new things. And then, of course, they've done a couple. They've taken a lot of liberties with some characters, right? Like the character of Amber, for example. That's not the way she looked. I mean, this is how she looked in the comic. And, in the show, she's a little bit different. And I never liked her character, honestly. And I still don't like her on the show. I really love the montage Mark has in episode 1 with the Karma Police playing. Yes, I was going to say the montages are awesome in this season. Playing in the background, the mixture of those visuals and Radiohead got to be. I thought the montages were well done in the season because it happened twice, big time.
Yes, it did happen twice. But yeah, so we learn a little bit about Alan and how he came to be, right? His species, they were creating someone who could beat the Viltrumites, right? And Alan is the only one out of all the experiments that seemed to get the closest. And of course, while he couldn't really beat a Viltrumite, they still put him on the Coalition of Planets and the Galactic Council to be like that guy who kind of sees, who's worthy and whatnot, which is what we saw in the interaction in the first season between him and Mark, when he accidentally thought Earth was Urath and not Earth. Anyways, so he has been tasked by the leader, Thetis, I think it's Thetis, which is Peter Cullen's character, to find out who...
Optimus Prime.
Okay, Optimus Prime. Who the inside... who the person on the inside is who's leaking information about what they know. And of course, then we get to see Alan hook up with his own girlfriend. And then there's this really awkward place where they start to have sex, and then the narrator goes back. Let's see what Mark's up to, but he's still doing it. So then he goes back. But eventually, a trio of Viltrumites who, because someone has given the information, they know that Omni-Man is no longer on Earth. He's kind of escaped his duties of preparing it for their invasion. And then B, he had a child, which is Mark, and he has powers. And so obviously they're looking for the information. They come upon Alan. And of course, Alan fights them, but gets severely injured in the process. And while he's recovering from it, we we quickly realized that the snitch, the rat amongst the council, is actually the leader himself when he takes Alan off his pride, when he takes Alan off life support. And then it ends. And when I was half watching it while I was putting this chair together, I was like, wait, that was a short episode. I thought all these episodes were 50
minutes. Oh, you got an
long.
S-Racer? That's the chair Melanie uses.
Yeah, I love this chair. It's really good. I got it on Cyber Monday sale. Anyway, so it cuts then back to the rest of the story. So of course we have Debbie, who started to go to this spouse, survivors meetings and stuff. It's all anonymous. No one uses their names. No one talks about especially who their hero is that they're grieving. And so she meets this one gentleman who ends up being the spouse of a superhero that Nolan actually had killed, right? One of the Guardians of the Globe. And his name is Theo. He's played by Daveed Diggs from Hamilton. That's the best thing I've got for you.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes, that's good. And so they have an interesting conversation at the bar. And once she realizes who his wife is or was, she gets upset. She admits to him, who she actually is. And not supposed to do that, right? That's against the codes. And that angers Theo to the point where he tells her not to come back to the meetings. So you're not welcome here, right? Even though technically her husband is dead to her. So that should count.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, some time has gone by, right? Like, we don't know how much time has gone by, and everybody needs a little love or whatever. But anyway, it doesn't turn out to be that way. Instead of like hooking up, it turns out that he's like, no, don't ever come back to the meetings. Like, damn. Like, not only is she feeling lonely, right? But then like finding out and feeling like you can open up to somebody that's also lost somebody.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not mad. And I know it's like the moment she's like, she realizes that he's not mad at her, but still it's like she doesn't feel accepted. And how is she going to keep moving? Who's she going to talk to now? There's no one to talk to.
Yeah, there's no one. And then, of course, now at this point, Mark is back at college. He's rooming with his friend William, and they're hanging out. And then Seance Dog appears. Now, you said Seance Dog is actually Science Dog.
Seance Dog. I know in the comic or in the TV show they called him Seance Dog, but in the comic he's Science Dog. That's what he's obsessed. And you realize how pissed off I was when that scene where he's throwing away his toys. I was like, "What are you doing, Mark? Those are collectibles." Well, and then he keeps Seance Dog, right? I guess that's okay. I guess that's okay then. Yes, but in the comic books, it was Science Dog is the comic book that he's obsessed with.
Yes, but they clearly were making a Doctor Strange reference with Seance Dog because he's dressed all
or Dr. Fate. He's not the only seance guy with a cape.
Good point. He's a combination of both. Here we go. But anyways, he shows up, and of course, this freaks out Mark because Seance Dog is not supposed to be real, right? And then Seance Dog's like, well, there's other dimensions, and another dimension Seance Dog might be real. And then he fights him a little bit, and then comes to realize he's actually some type of alien called a Thraxan. And he was just it was just like shape-shifting, right? And so he tells him, we need your help. We need you to come back to our planet. And Mark decides to go, even though it's going to take him a week to get there because space travel is not that quick. So he takes this trip with the Thraxans. We also have some side plots with the Guardians of the Globe. Rexplode finds Duplicate. They were together because after he cheated on Adam Eve with her, she's now having sex with the Immortal.
Well, yeah, man. I love the when he finds out, he's like, wait a minute, I know that face. And it turns out that one of her clothes is banging the Immortal. And then he's like, and he's trying to justify it. He's like, you're cheating on me. And she's like, we were doing the same when you were going out with Adam Eve, remember? And he was like, no, that was different. That cracked me, like genuinely cracked me up. Like man logic sometimes. Science Dog better than Mystic Dog. Yeah, I agree with that. And Nort overall, Keith Giffen, rest in peace. Carry on, Amanda.
No, yeah. So that's happening, and then Monster Girl and Robot, they go on an actual movie date together. They go see a movie together, and we figure out that she has to sometimes pay adults to make sure she gets in R-rated films and act as her parents, which is kind of cute. You have a little bit of
they're touching on that. Because that becomes a big part of the story later on. So I'm glad they're leaving all these little breadcrumbs that add to this big storyline that happens later.
Yeah. And then Lenny brought up Donald. So, we mentioned that Donald was killed by Omni-Man at the end of season 1, but then I think it's episode 2 is where we realize that Donald's alive somehow, and Debbie sees him when she goes visits Cecil at the GDA headquarters and kind of freaks out. And Donald's asking Cecil, like, why did she act that way when she saw me? And she's like, she's a distressed woman. Like, what the heck? That's the best example.
He's a distressed woman.
Distressed woman.
That makes sense.
Yeah, of course. So Donald's on his own little hunt, right? And towards the end of, by episode 4, he finds the tapes, this Curie tapes, where he sees himself getting killed by Omni-Man, and he goes to see, like, so am I, like, was I brought back to life? Am I not even human?
That is really strange. Like, what exactly is he?
Yeah, because when he cut himself open, he did bleed, but then the blade was bent, right? So there's going to be a lot of questions, right? Obviously, that was not answered by the end of episode 4.
Yeah, you got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, a lot of things going on. And then, of course, let's not forget about Shape Smith, the Martian from way back in season 1. Forgot about that storyline, but he's on Earth. He's pretending to be a superhero. He's the astronaut now pretending to be a superhero. He got superhero powers and joined the Guardians of the Globe. And then, of course, so that happened. And then Mark takes his journey with Thraxans, ends up on the Thraxan world, and they introduce him to the leader. And the leader is none other than his father, Nolan, or Omni-Man.
Now, you haven't read the comics. You haven't read the comics.
No.
Were you surprised to see Omni-Man return so quick? Like, did that take you by surprise that it's Omni-Man leading all these bug people? She was so taken by surprise that she's speechless. And I hope it's not my internet.
No, it was my internet. It's good.
I was like, you're so taken by surprise that you're speechless.
I was taken by surprise. No, I know that I had read through the first 25 issues or so, and I knew it took a while. It did. Yeah, so it took a little bit. So I knew that it took him a little bit to get to see Omni-Man. So I was surprised that he showed up by episode 4.
Oh, I mean, I've read the comics and I love him, and I immediately forgot that he had shown up so quick. But it does kind of follow that, like.
Does it? Yeah. So we're introduced to Omni-Man, and then episode 4 is where everything kind of comes to a head. So Omni-Man kind of explains what happened to him after he had left Earth, and he ends up, he's in this turmoil, and I guess he's pretty much abandoned his quest as a Viltrumite, and he ends up on Thraxan. He doesn't conquer them. He helps them, and they ask him to be his leader. He marries their queen.
Whoa, right? Not only that, but
has a baby.
Yeah, man, he has a kid brother.
It's not a bug. It's a humanoid creature or
creature. It's a baby.
It's a baby who grows at a quick rate because we learned that Thraxans only live for the equivalent of 1 human day. Is that correct? Like a bug. Bugs have a very short lifespan, right? So that makes sense.
Yeah, he's like, here, let me show you what he looks like. Yeah, he's a little purple baby. That's all he is. That's
little purple baby.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty standard. So of course he needs Mark's help because he knows the Viltrumites are going to
Dude,
come for
he made another family quick. He was like,
yeah.
How did they say how much time had gone by? Like, not even a year, right?
I mean, enough that no, I don't know if a whole year, but at least 6 months, enough that he would be able to graduate or high school and start college, right? So you're looking at least 3 months there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long he was.
Bruce is saying 6 months.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, like 6 months.
That's still really quick to be like, man, I almost killed my son, and now I'm knocking boots with this bug girl. But she got that tongue, though. She's got that was tongue.
Yeah. But
wow.
yeah.
Meanwhile, your wife is still mourning you. Because you're not.
God, I know.
Right? She's like drinking and like looking. Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, she's going through it. But Debbie has a lot of, in this episode, she does.
And they mentioned 6 months when he talks to Omni-Man. Thank you for that, Dylan.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Yeah. So yeah, and Mark doesn't know what to make of this. He's at first like, he hugs his dad, then he yells at his dad. He's angry because he feels like,
dude, that was so good. That was so good.
Yeah.
That was so good when he was like, "Fuck you," just
he's like,
you.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Great delivery and a really good scene. Emotional and what do you say to somebody you love and try to kill you and then it's still your dad, and how fast do you forgive and move on? And yeah, man,
I thought toxic. Then he's like coming back and saying, "But I need your help and I'm sorry." And he's like, "No, you just literally tried to kill me. You called mom a pet, and now you replaced mom.
That was good.
But you need my help."
I really like that scene. I thought that was a really well done scene. That episode was great. These episodes have been great.
Episode 4 I think was definitely the peak for me in terms of the episodes.
This is the panel that Kingsport Cal wanted to see. Straight out the comic. That's right. They're tonguing each other. Right in front of Mark. Right in front of Mark. Omni-Man is nominated for Scott Summers' Father's Award. That's cold. I don't know if I'd give him that. So yeah, this is where the Viltrumites come and invade and start killing a lot of these bug folks, right? And that was a good scene too, because Omni-Man was like, he's strangling Mark, and he's like, "Why do I care? I don't care about these people. What's wrong with me?" Oh, dude, that was so good. That was good. I really like these episodes. I like where they're going, because I think showing scenes like that makes people care about these characters and connect with them, right? Because everybody has family issues. Well, hope not to this extreme of your father choking the life out of you, trying to get answers.
No.
But everybody has family issues, and I just thought this portrayed it really well, right? Mark doesn't have enough time to deal with his father having another family because they're already being invaded. And, you think you're going to go Dragon Ball Z route. I'm going to train you, son, because the Viltrumites are coming. And then Viltrumites are there. And Omni-Man's like, "Oh, crap. I don't have time to train you." Yep. So they get into this huge fight with 3 Viltrumites. And we don't really know the strength, right? All we know is that Mark got the crap beat out of him out of his father. And there's a moment here. By the way, one of the Viltrumites was changed. I think they gender swapped. Because it was just like it was another dude in the comics. In the show, it was a lady with a blade on her hair. Yeah, this is the guy in the comics. I seem to remember that because I did not remember her, but she had like a blade on the end of her hair, her ponytail.
And that's who Clancy Brown is. He's General Craig. That's who he's playing right now.
Man, I like that scene where he was like, "Don't hold back, Mark. You're holding back. This is life or death, right? You hold back, we're dying. They're gonna kill everybody here."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a really good scene too, like showcasing just how much power it got.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, they replaced the guy, but the braided ponytail chick is still in the book. I don't remember her, but I do remember there was a guy, because I had to go back and get my comic out because I was like, I don't remember it playing out like that. Like, I know when Science Dog showed up, that I remember being Mark at his mom's house, not in college. This is where they get into a huge, like, another violent fight, right? and
Mm-hmm.
Mark is left unconscious. The guy, one of the Viltrumites that his dad thought he killed, ripped his guts out, just slams on him, right? And he's like, next time you kill somebody, make sure they're dead, and then passes out. And then this is where we get the character showing up and saying, you know, we're gonna take your dad. He's gonna be held in. I think they're gonna execute him, is what they said, right? Or did they say
they're gonna execute him? Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. I don't remember if they're going on trial or if they're going to execute him. And they offered Mark a chance to come and join the Viltrumite army. Man, that was awesome. So
was that an offer or more like a you are doing this? We're going to check on you. Prepare Earth.
Yeah, he was like, you gotta. How many people did he say you have to kill, or we're going to come down there and kill everybody?
Just a few, like a handful.
Yeah.
A handful. Kill a handful of people, or else we're going to kill everyone or a lot of people. Yeah, that wasn't an offer. That was this is happening. It was a demand, a command, if rather. Yeah. So that happened. But also Debbie kind of comes full circle in her grief. She has a moment with Art. We remember Art is the gentleman who was making the superhero costumes, played by Mark Hamill.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So it's a nice little moment with him, and he kind of makes her realize, you know, forget him. You're better than that. And then later towards the end of the episode, you see her gathering up all of Nolan's things, like his books and his things like that. And she gives it to Cecil. And she's like, I don't want any more of your money. Give it to the people in Chicago to help them. I don't want any of that. And Cecil, of course, is like, no. But she's like, no, I don't want any of it. She's going to be her own woman now. But those books make him come into play because as Nolan is getting led away by the Viltrumizer before he passes out, he says, remember the good works I've done, Mark. Remember my books.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, she just gave her books to Cecil. Is that going to play a part in the next 4 episodes?
Maybe.
I don't know. You tell me. You've read all the comics.
Oh, I mean, you still got to wait.
I know, right?
You can't just be asking questions like that. You got to wait.
That's true. And then there's the whole Adam Eve story
in the show. It might play out different in the show, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Yeah. So
yeah.
But that's where we end, right? We end on a big cliffhanger, and man, what a cliffhanger! I really dug it. I enjoyed. I enjoyed this season as much, I think, as the first one. Well, even though we're looking at half the season so far.
Yeah.
But it was just a really good season. It was well done. 4 episodes, right?
Yeah.
But I dig it. I'm in. It was a lot of fun. The Adam Eve story was really interesting, and that was shown throughout the summer, right? Like right before the season started. So that's her origin story, like how she ended up meeting Cecil and what role he played, and that came straight from the Adam Eve miniseries. But it does introduce a character that shows up again in this season. The guy that she's fighting that's robbing that piece that she goes after on the bridge, that throws that car over the bridge. Yeah. So that was that's really interesting. I like that they're doing these little one-shots too. So maybe we'll get a Battle Beast one-shot or an Alan one-shot, which I think that's the way they were thinking episode 3 was going to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Interesting the way they chose to do that.
Omar, as someone who has read the comics, do you agree with IGN's article, Invincible Mid-Season Finale? That character proves the show has surpassed the comic.
I have that article up right now, William Lee. That's incredible.
What is the who's that character? I'm sorry. Is it cryptic? Damn, I don't know. It's hard to say, right? It because like I said, it helps to have a really good actor that happens to be a great voice actor.
Yeah.
Too. And his voice is very unique. Delivering those amazing lines. You know, there's so much heart, there's so much sorrow, and anger
J.K. Simmons is good like that.
And it's kind of hard to do that in a panel. You know, you read it yourself, but I don't know. I don't know if it's surpassed it yet. I do think that, believe it or not, what makes it, if I'm gonna say anything is gonna surpass it, is the treatment of Debbie, like her character. Seems like she gets better treatment in the show than she did in the comic. In the comic, it was more like, okay, we've got to move on with the story. We got the Guardians, and we've got Mark, and we've got all these other monsters to set up, and Debbie hardly gets any playtime or any time on, you know, in the comic book. I think they did a really good job of portraying that in the show, more so than the comic. I think in the comic, it's been a couple of years since I've read it. I want to say she turned to the bottle immediately, like that. Those were the kind of scenes that you would see with her, like her drinking. I know that she confronted Cecil too. Yeah, but I am curious how this show will be different, though. I mean, I'm excited for it. I like the subtle differences, and I will go ahead and say I never liked Amber in the comic either. She got on my nerves. Invincible show Amber, yeah, she's not my favorite. I could stand to lose that character. Adds nothing really. I never liked her in season 1 either. She added nothing to the show.
Yeah, it's hard when you have a romantic interest and she's not part of the Guardians. She's not part of a deeper plot point, so they're just kind of there on the side. And sometimes
she's kind of like your Mary Jane character, right? There's something about her that makes her extraordinary. Well, at least Mary Jane. I don't know about this character. Like I said, I never got that in the comics. In the comics, she was rude too. He was like, "Yo, I gotta go into space." Turns out the science dog was an alien, and she's like, "What? How dare you?" Yeah, I didn't like it.
Right.
Always complaining. Show. So, I'll tell you what, though, the show, Walton Goggins plays Cecil Stedman, and that is the most straight character he's ever played. Like, I've never seen a straight man character out of Walter Goggins. That guy's always all over, like crazy. Like, his voice always stands out. So I had to look up who voiced Cecil, and I was like, what? He's so just like.
He played straight in the Community episode, the lie detector test. He was a straight man in that.
Yeah, but okay. Was he?
I mean, yeah.
He wasn't a little quirky?
No, he wasn't quirky until, like, you know how they do, like, the after credits sequence, and they're all at the bar, and he's drunk. He's like, oh, I wanted to let you guys know about the semen. But then he was drunk by that point. That was the only time he ever, like, was kind of crazy. But yeah, he was that lawyer who's just straight the whole time. He played the straight character while everyone else is acting up around him.
Oh, okay. I believe you. But I was really surprised it was him.
Yeah.
I didn't see. I was surprised he was playing that character. Yeah, and most of the voices, I think, are done really well. Some of them, I think, are just actors that are reading lines, and that's okay, right?
Which ones
do you think? We learned that in the What If episodes, that not every actor makes a good voice actor. It's a little different when you're not reacting to anybody. Anyone seen Walter Goggins? So I saw the pictures of. I like Walter Goggins' character in Sons of Anarchy. He had boobies. Boyd Crowder is his best work. Walter Goggins in Ant-Man 2 was fun to watch.
Maybe a bright spot for Omar in that. Otherwise,
I am not a fan of that movie.
No, I mean, I liked all the voice acting. I didn't really see anyone that seemed to, I guess, falter for me. That was less than. Obviously, Sandra Oh is my standout, and of J.K. Simmons, and that's what that article was talking about. Is in the animated series, they offer that sequence where you get to see Nolan like deal with like the torment, like from leaving Earth to getting on to Thraxon, which I don't think they show in the comics, I guess.
No, you just get like the surprise of him being there, being the, the emperor of this place, and then I need your help.
So they're showing his, like they say, the tormented psyche a lot better. I think that's what they're talking about. But of course, J.K. Simmons delivers it so well.
Well, and I don't know what I like better, right? Like, I don't know. Part of the reason I love The Boys is because they expanded on the characters in the show, right?
Mhm.
They made they made some of these characters feel more real than the
Yeah.
comics did. But the problem with that is you expand on every character and everybody has back issues, right? Like everybody, not comics, everybody has issues. Everybody's got mental problems. And you're like, oh, well, that character's evil because of this, and that character's evil
Mhm.
because of that. Every once in a while, people just are crazy. And I'm okay with that. That's why I like the Boys comics, because I don't need a damn explanation why some of these people are horrible. People are just horrible human beings sometimes, or
Yeah.
aliens. So I hope they don't do too much of that on the show, because I noticed they did it a lot in The Boys. But in here, like
Yeah.
every character, including Homelander, has like this backup story of like, oh, okay, I could kind of feel bad for him.
Oh, I don't feel bad for Homelander anymore. Not at
But
all.
but in the comics, it was like, oh man, this guy's pure evil, like pure
Yeah.
evil. Like there's no redemption for this guy. There's no feeling sorry
Yeah.
for this guy. Especially with, well, if anybody has read the comics with the babies, like what? There's no way they do that in the show and come back from that. Like,
Do
so,
they want someone to feel for Homelander? I don't know.
well, he's a lot more likable. I mean, if you
Mm,
think about society though as a whole, look how many
that's
look how
true.
many look how many young girls were crushing on Jeffrey Dahmer because of that Netflix show.
Oh, that's right.
You
Even
give him
though
a
as computers, they
background story, you make him a human being, and people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a TikTok dance out of this." And I'm not trying to be preachy. I'm just saying that's just humanity. I think some people are just evil, and there's
so
nothing
what
wrong with
Omar's saying is he just wants Omni-Man to be evil. You know what? The
Oh, no,
Viltrumites,
no,
let's
no,
just
no, 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 no. There are other characters that appear through here. I don't want
oh,
that same
okay.
treatment, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
worried that that's what they'll do is they'll expand on these evil characters for the sake of like humanizing them and being like, "Oh, well, that's what's wrong with that guy. That's why he's broken."
Yeah. I hope not, because they do have a lot of stories that they're trying to intersect with the heroes that we can't spend too much time on other backstories because we need to flesh out. Obviously, there's touching upon the relationship with Rexplode, Duplicate, the dynamics of the Guardians of the
Yeah, because you
Globe,
still got things going on Earth,
right?
right?
Yeah, whatever's happening with Cecil and Donald, like there's so much going on that they should be careful about too many backstories and throwing those in there because then that will get lost. There's a fine line there with how many people are getting those treatments. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah. So hopefully they
How
won't
did
do
you
that.
feel about the mid credit scenes? Like I thought those were so like why isn't this part of the show? Like each
Yeah.
episode just about had like a mid credit scene, but it felt
That
like
was
a longer scene that was important to the show.
I don't
Uh,
know why they chose to do that.
well, one of the twins killing the other, or I'm sorry, the clone,
Yes.
like saying, I'm the real one. I thought that
I'm the
was
real clone man.
weird.
Yeah,
That was a weird decision.
exactly. I don't understand why they did. I guess that's the way like that wasn't part of the main storyline for that episode, but we're still going to get a teaser of it, right? Cause like
Mhm.
what you're talking about with the Maulers, right? It happened in
Yeah,
an episode that wasn't really, they weren't the focus at that point.
no, they
Or
just kind of came at the end.
yeah, same
And
with
then
that one credit scene with the future or the other dimension. Mark was already captured, right? Or
yeah.
another, I don't know which dimension it was. It was a dimension.
Mhm.
Angstrom has captured him. But yeah, those things, maybe because they weren't part of the main storyline, but they will be later on. So they end up as a mid-credit scene, as Marvel would do.
Yeah, maybe that's what they did when it came to
Yeah.
edit. Like, oh, this scene's good, but we'll keep it till the end. Um,
Yeah.
so what about the animation? What do you think of the animation?
I
Choppy or was
mean,
it good?
I mean,
Fluid?
I like the animation. I don't think I didn't see any dip or decline from the previous season. I still like this design work. Because it still kind of has the comic feel to it. I
Oh,
like the way it
totally.
moves.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of the animation. I like it a lot.
Definitely has more of a Ryan Otley feel and less of a Chris or Corey Walker, who's the
Yeah.
original co-creator of
Mhm.
Invincible. And oh my gosh, again, I gotta give it to the sound department, man. They kill it every time, every crunch, every punch, every squish. I'm like, man, somebody did the research. Or maybe I've just seen too many serial killer documentaries. Or is that the way it's supposed to sound? Thing? Oh yeah, when he elbowed her jaw off and she's like, I was like,
that was
gurgling. That was good. That was good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always curious what the sound department had to go and find to like make these crunching sounds. Like go get like a chicken. I'm okay. I'm okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking.
He's okay.
I tried reading comics years ago and was turned off by the art. I might have to dip back in soon. Oh, the art, is it too cartoony for you? That's what I remember when I was reading it. A lot of people at the comic shop had issues with like it's too as the old squad would call it, it's too anime for them. And now it's just become the norm. Like, this is the type of artwork you're going to see in just about every comic. Yeah, but back then, it was still like too. I remember people were complaining it was too anime for them. Like, all right, you're missing out. It's solid.
Yeah. But now anime is really popular. Besides the sound, though, the soundtrack, the score.
Yeah, they spent some money this season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's some beautiful music behind some of those scenes that was very poignant. And then, of course, using Karma Please. I think they used Leonard Cohen as well at one point, the song Avalanche. I mean, they picked some great songs. I like the score. It really elevated some of the scenes in these first 4 episodes as well. So we cannot forget about that because I think that was really important as well.
Yes, William. I was thinking the same thing too. It's anime. It just seems like normal comic art. It's just I just remember the older folks at the comic store would complain that it's got that Japanese feel to it. And I was like, oh, okay. I think that has been around for over 10 years at that point. It looks unfinished. I don't know if that makes sense. Could be completely wrong. Oh, I say give it a try again. I mean, Corey Walker's style is a little bit different than Ryan Ottley's. I think Ryan Ottley, I think he's got more of that, like, I love his panel layouts, but really the star of the show are the colorists. Bill Crabtree is one of them, and oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. He's the guy that did Lake of Fire. He wrote it, but he's a colorist. I cannot remember his name. We reviewed it on the channel years ago.
Oh God.
Wasn't that the point though? Subvert your expectations of the comic? Maybe. You mean why it has that look to it? I can kind of see that.
It could be. Yeah. Isn't that the whole purpose of the comic?
Foley artists use bok choy to simulate flesh tearing sounds. Why bok choy? Is it cheap? Oh, not hash marks like Jim Lee and David Finch. No.
Yeah.
Watching Ryan Ottley mature was almost as enjoyable as watching Trad Moore evolve over Luther Strode. I still love his art in Luther Strode.
Mm-hmm. So, Omar, tell me, was there anything you didn't like about these first 4 episodes?
Trying to think. I mean, maybe it wasn't enough. Like it could have been longer. Should have been 8 episodes. Yeah, I think. I mean, it is a good wrap up. It's like, oh man, my dad's kidnapped. I have a baby brother. What the hell am I gonna do with a baby brother? What am I gonna do? Am I gonna go and rescue my dad? Do I need to go back to Earth? It needed that. I hate to say this. It needed that big anime cliffhanger that I love so much. It's very tropey as hell. Where all the characters are together and they're like, they don't say it, but it's almost like we'll help. You know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You're not gonna do this alone. Oh hell, they did it in One Piece.
Yeah, they did do it in One Piece.
He was like, I need help, Luffy, and he's like, of course I'll help. Yeah, something like that's what I needed in here. But instead it just kind of ended in this gloomy, like him laying in his pool of blood, like, oh, his face was all swollen up.
Yeah.
I don't know how long they're going to keep the character of Amber around. I'm pretty sure in the comics, those human, like his Earth friends that are not superheroes, are kind of almost forgotten. I mean, they go back from time to time, but they are kind of almost forgotten. So I feel like they may end up doing that too in the show. Hey, Kane, how are you?
Hey, Kane, how's it going?
Amber, I didn't like. Also, don't think splitting the seasons is cool.
Yeah.
Hey, GTT comic. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
I get why they do it, but it is only 4 episodes, so it makes it hard. And yes, they're 4-hour, like almost hour-long episodes, which is why, like you said, that you're like, they need to be 8 episodes because you need to space, just have more in there. And that's why I feel like for episode 1 to 2, I felt like the plot didn't move forward very much. It wasn't until episode 3 and then 4 where the plot went woo, right? Like I felt like episode 1 and 2 kind of was a little stagnant. And then all of a sudden by episode 3, we're like, all right, we're moving now. But each episode was like an hour long. So you felt like maybe more should have happened in it. But they could be because they had to split their time up between so many characters now and so many subplots. Let's not forget about that Martian guy, because I was like, I forgot that thing existed. And then they cut back
he ends up joining the Guardians, right?
Yeah, but they even cut back to the Martians on Mars, and their evil plan. Is there an evil plan? It looks like they were heading to Earth. Something was happening.
There's a lot that's happening, and a lot of things are going on that I feel like it's almost too much. And honestly, the comic felt like that too. And at times in the comics, I did feel like, I think I missed something. Maybe I should be reading the Guardians of the Globe or the spin-off comics. So I feel like I'm missing something that they should have dealt with. And I think it was just Kirkman and just his writing style that he would just kind of forget. Like, there's certain writers that play the long game, like Chris Claremont, right? Like laying down the foundation for future stories early on. I feel like Kirkman was trying to do that, but then kind of forgot some things and just kind of let them dwindle away. I think especially after 2 years, the 2-year gap splitting the season up. Was it 2 years ago that we reviewed season 1? God bless.
I think it was.
Time needs to slow down. Are you sure? Are we sure about that?
I'm pretty sure it came out in 2020.
No. There's no way it came out during the pandemic. No, what?
Oh, 2021. Sorry, okay. 2021, which was that was 2 years ago. Yeah.
So when is season 3 or season 2, part 2 coming out?
When does it come out? Because when does part?
Good evening, not afternoon. Brain went autopilot. It's okay. Doing okay, Kane.
So right now there is no date yet.
Yeah. So
it's still showing early 2024.
So Tapsy Logic brings up something interesting, because I've thought about this too, that we do have winter breaks in between episodes, right? When we used to have a 26 episode show on television, but we are talking about streaming, right?
And there's 8 episodes.
And now it's oh my gosh, we're learning from British television that we're only doing 8 episodes and then we're getting specials. I hope it comes back in early 2024. That would make sense. I have a serious question. Both Mark and Rex said they had their teeth knocked out. Does Mark have to constantly go back to the dentist? Dude, I think the same thing in comic books. I'm like, they have to have good dental insurance. Them teeth are fake by now. Or maybe it's some Viltrumite, like he's half Viltrumite, so it grows back. Ugh, gross.
Yeah, but Rex isn't.
Yeah, but Rex seems like a type of dude that got plastic surgery. Can't really do the long game on TV if there's a greater risk of the show getting canceled. So how does it work for streaming? Because I'm so confused by this process. Usually when a show is picked up on television, it's like we're buying so many episodes, right? And I still use 26. I don't know. Are there shows that still have 26 episodes a season? Or are we stuck on the mentality of cable television?
Law and Order?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Exactly. Like every year, Law and Order is ordered by the network, right? And every year they say we're putting this much money aside, we're ordering these many episodes that tend to be about 26 episodes. Or is it like the mentality of cable television where they're ordering like 10 episodes a season? And if they know ahead of time, then they can start doing these things, right? Because I remember when Game of Thrones was being renewed every year. It was being renewed at the same time. And then one year they were like, the show's so good, we're renewing seasons 4 and 5 back to back. And it's usually towards the tail end of the previous season. I don't know how streaming does, but I figure with a show that was this popular, they would be like, yeah, we're ordering 2 more seasons. Because they've announced that before, right? Like Stranger Things. They were like, okay, we're not only going to renew seasons 3, we're doing 3 and 4. Because if they do that, then they can play the long game. And I just don't know. Okay. Then they
said early
2024. This is a good point. When you dangle so many threads, you tend to forget some. And that happens, right? But then we have multiple writers here on this show.
Mm-hmm.
No shot time and slipping that fast. I think Kirkman makes up his stuff as he goes along. I have a lot of theories about that, but that's for another day. Invincible season 1 on NMC was reviewed April 30th of 2020. That's 2.5 years ago, Amanda, right? No, a year and a half.
That's a long time.
That's a year and a half. That's not that bad. A year and a half, right?
Yeah, almost. Yeah, a year and a half.
No, wait.
Because it would have been.
No, I'm an idiot.
No, it's 2.5.
2.5 years. Uncanny Omar, do math one day. Good. 2.5 years. Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Look at Walking Dead. You said it, brother. Mark can't regrow his teeth. I think it's Voltramite trait. Thank you for that correction. Normally TV series seasons have around 23 episodes. Mid-season series have around 13 episodes.
Yeah.
I think the shows have to reach a viewership threshold before that are renewed. Neil Gaiman mentioned something about this for Sandman in order for Netflix to renew. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for that show to come back. I can't wait to. I hope they do my favorite storyline. What's that?
I said it'll be 2 years until you see that again too.
As long as they do my favorite storyline, Justice, that's all I'm in for. I think it's per season thing, which is probably why we're renewed for next season. Post announcements are always big news. Interesting. Invincible season 1, both of you gave it an 8.5 out of 10, which reminds me, what would you give Invincible season 2 part 1?
That's
part
a good
2.
question.
Part 2, I mean season 2 part 1. Yes, part 1. Yes.
Yes.
Anybody that has watched it too, joining us, and throw in the Adam Eve story in there. What would you give season 2 part 1?
I think I give it for right now 8 out of 10. It was a strong start. Like I said, there was a little bit I felt like the plot wasn't moving forward in those first 2 episodes, but the last 2 episodes really made up for it. So yes, 8 out of 10 for me. We'll see what happens with the next 4 episodes.
Damn it. I should have gone first, because then it would have sounded like you were copying me. I also, before we started the show, I was like, this is an 8 out of 10. I couldn't remember what I gave 1. I'm like, I hope I gave season 1 a little bit better rating, because it actually had a really good cliffhanger ending. And this one has a very similar one, but I needed a little more. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. It was fun. It was good. Had a lot of heart. And like I said, expanded more on some of the things we didn't see in the comic book. And I'm expecting to see a little bit more than that. Dude, Sandman Blu-ray, I need to pick that up. I love that season. I hope you enjoy it, Phil. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Sandman just started season 2 production. 8.7 out of 10. 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8 Viltrumite T, 7. I give it an 8 Subway people exploding out of 10. I'm waiting for the whole second season to air on Prime before I binge watch. Kenny, you're just here because you love us, and we love you right back.
Yes, I appreciate that.
8 French kissing bugs out of 10. You couldn't hang, Max. You couldn't deal with them bugs. Woo. Need you, an Earth girl. You ain't no Viltrumite. Now I'm curious. You haven't read the comics. What do you think is going to happen? This is just Amanda's. What do you think Mark is going to go and try to save his dad? Do you think that what's going to happen to the baby? Is he gonna be with Amber? Like, wait, what do you think is gonna happen? Are they gonna raise the child together on Earth? These are the kind of questions I would ask you whenever we watch Game of Thrones, because you hadn't read the books yet. And I would be like, all right, this season just finished. What do you think is gonna happen? Because everybody got it wrong at the end of season 1.
Yes. Oh, what do I think is gonna happen? Well, the baby grows fast.
We love you right back, Kane. All right,
yes,
the baby grows fast.
Baby's gonna grow fast, and he's gonna have to train the baby while also dealing with the impending coming of the Viltrumites. And something tells me he's gonna have to work with the Guardians of the Globe. I don't know if him and Amber will last. I like to see him and Adam Eve, get together.
Why is that? Nice. You think superheroes belong with other superheroes?
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. No, I just like Adam Eve's character, and I liked them in the first season. I was hoping they would get together, but then I was like, it's not going to happen. So they're playing the long game if it's going to happen at all. And I think he's going to discover something about his dad in those books. He's going to find these clues that he needs to, and it's going to undo everything everyone's thought about Nolan. But I just don't know where Debbie's going to go with it all. That's the only... I still need to figure out... He has to cut... Him and Angstrom, Levy, are going to have it out at some point. Because I feel like they were trying to make Angstrom the villain, but it seems like the Viltrumites are the villains again. But maybe that's a misdirection.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, maybe it's a misdirection, and really the last 4 episodes is going to be Angstrom and all of his multiversal beings trying to save all the universes from Mark and Omni-Man. And maybe that's the great battle. I don't know.
I guess we're just going to have to wait and see, but I like where your brain is going. You got a couple of good thoughts there. Oliver's the worst. Spoilers, Bruce. Didn't read the comic, but I think Mark's brother will become a villain and will try to take over Earth. I like that. Because the baby ages differently, right? But won't the baby stop aging as quickly after gaining powers? What makes you think he's going to gain powers, William? We're just speculating on the show. Amanda has not read the comic. I'm looking forward to see how they use the sonics that Cecil recorded. I'm curious to see how big the Guardians of the Globe are going to play in the next season, especially with certain story arcs that revolve around a couple of them, that mainly focus on them. Mark is going to find Omni-Man's omnibus collection and become hopelessly addicted to collecting. Don't you just love that? I need a freaking shirt that says Omni-Man. That's what I need for Christmas. Omni-Man. And an O for Omar. Bingo. Mark, pre-order my book. Don't forget to smash that like button too. All right. Anything else we got to talk about tonight, Panda?
No, but I did want to show everyone what our agenda, not our agenda, our schedule.
Don't use that word here unless you're talking about Extinction Agenda, which is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the comic book Extinction Agenda. Let me clarify that if you're new to the channel.
That's a good, thanks for clarification. All right, so I made a little graphic for everyone because starting next week it is Christmas season, and also.
Oh my gosh! Wait! Are you gonna pull it up right now?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Man. Oh my gosh! Yes. It's the holiday season, baby. Oh, thank you, Amanda.
The gift that keeps on giving, right there. So it's not only Christmas, but it's also my birthday month.
Time out a second. I'm sorry. What you just said is really important, though. With your birthday month next month, are you going to review Virgin River Christmas specials? James, are you messing with me? Are there real Virgin Rivers Christmas special, or are you just messing with me? Because I need to know, not Amanda. I need to know.
Yeah, that's Omar's.
That's my thing. That's my
thing. I watched it, but that's definitely an Omar thing.
Oh. It's definitely no, it is not. It's so not me.
That in Firefly Lane, I was like,
Firefly Lane. Don't get me started. No,
I watched Gilmore Girls, and that's about the extent. I am
not watching Gilmore Girls. Yeah, this is the new Iron Fist omnibus of Phil Owens. But more importantly, Amanda has an amazing announcement to make about the month of December.
Yes.
Go ahead, Amanda.
All right, so we have some episodes lined up, and so I figure we let y'all know what those are going to look like, so you can prepare, because some of them we will have to prepare for. They're not just going to be like, watch this and come talk about it. So let me show it to you. There we go. Here is our schedule. So next week, to kick off the
Wait a minute.
What? To kick off the month, we're going to be ranking our favorite Christmas movies. We'll do one of those ranking structures. We'll send the link out to everyone if you want to play along and do your own ranks. Yes, we'll post out this. Yeah, Omar, can we post that on the community tab?
Yeah, maybe we should change it. How about 10? So we know how many Christmas movies do you want to rank?
Oh, we were gonna do like 10 a piece. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but just so they know, we're gonna be ranking Christmas movies.
Are we gonna do Die Hard 2? Because we did Die Hard 1 last year. That was a Christmas miracle.
You can put it in here. It's your favorite Christmas movie. I thought only Die Hard was considered a Christmas movie.
I will stop at Die Hard with a Vengeance.
There we go. All right. So,
okay. So tell me about each one of these.
Yeah. So next Wednesday will be our regular.
This is a good question before we make it a community post. How's it going, Atit? Are you ranking a common list or each coming up with your own movies? How are we going to do that?
We're going to come up with our own movies. So
what?
Yeah.
We are? With the little graphics and everything? Well, how's everybody going to play along?
Well, I'll have it done beforehand, and then we'll send it out, the link out on in the chat. And of course, we'll probably put it on like the community post on YouTube as well, like we did before with our other ones that we've done in the past.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. So then on the 13th, we're going to do a wrap up of the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials, because that will have wrapped up by then.
That's the third one that comes out that day, right?
Yeah, the fourth one will come out that weekend.
Oh, there's 4? I thought there were only 3.
You're right. There's 3. I'm thinking of Invincible still.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. Then on 12/20, because this is my birthday month, Omar and I are going to take a look at my favorite movie trilogy, and I think maybe his, and we're going to see if they still hold up, and that is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Then on the 22nd, which is a Friday, we're going to be reviewing Aquaman 2, in case everyone forgot that came out. So that is coming out still. Yay.
Everyone forgot? No one's forgotten.
No, it's forgotten. Then on 12/27, we'll be ranking our favorite mid-2000s comedies. We'll come out with that list beforehand of which ones will be on there, which ones we're going to be ranking.
Oh, this is for your birthday. Okay.
Yeah, that's my birthday month stuff.
Now, when you say mid-2000 comedies, are we talking TV shows or just movies?
We're talking about movies. We're not doing TV shows.
Okay.
Yes, we'll just do movies. Looking probably like 2005 to like 2009, some time frame like that. Then of course,
that's a short 4 years. Okay.
So
you lead the way, and I'll follow whatever it is that you need.
A lot of comedies came out from 2005 2009. Then on the 3rd, even though it's technically now January, but I have to give up some of my stuff to other things like the Doctor Who episodes and things like that. We're going to do It Wasn't Really That Bad, The Last Airbender, because I don't think I get to actually talk about it enough. So let's take a look back at that.
Like, you really want to go and like hurt yourself. And by the way, Max is never allowed to say this again. Favorite comedies from 20 years ago is what you're saying.
You're right. God, I was just going to say mid-2000s. I was kind of keeping it. Stop talking about that.
Wegu, how are you? Nuke, back to you, brother. Totally forgot Aquaman 2. Will this make less than Marvel's? You know what? I'm not here for speculating, because the last time I did that, I was proven right. Me and Tom Cruise said that The Flash was going to be the saving grace of the movie theaters, and wow, we were off. Hey, how are you doing, CNSS 84? Hi, Amanda, Omar.
Hey.
Dropping in show some support to NMC. Have a great evening. You as well. saw that Airbender movie before I watched the cartoon in its entire. That's awesome because you liked it so much that you went back to watch a cartoon. And you were like, "This stuff's for kids. It's not as good as M. Night's."
Oh, I can't wait to have that conversation.
Favorite comedies from the
Yes.
90s, in other words, favorite comedies from the late 1900s. Max, you need to shut up. You quit making me feel old. Phil, yes.
To be
This
fair,
105th Omnibus, the early years, comes out in January. This is the direct market covered by Steve Ditko, and I had to get that one because it's got Sabretooth on it.
yeah.
Go ahead, Amanda. To be fair about math.
No, it's just funny that math. James said, what about the Merry Little Batman anime Christmas movie? Yes, it is coming out on December 8th. I'll definitely be watching it because my man Patrick Stump did the music for it. So I will be watching it.
Wait, I thought we were gonna aren't we reviewing A Boy and His Heron?
Yeah, I was gonna talk to you about that after the show.
Oh, maybe I should have asked you after the show. So everybody ignore I just asked that question.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, we'll talk about that. It depends on when we can see it. That's what I was gonna ask.
What is your favorite comic featuring Doom? My favorite comic featuring Doom is probably in Mark Waid's run of Fantastic Four. It's amazing. It's amazing. That or Books of Doom. Wow. But probably the best answer is the Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom, Triumph and Torment. That's the best Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom story. The Flash will save us all. We were so close. We were so close. So close. So close. What happened, Flash? You let us down, Michael Keaton. Speaking of the 90s, SWAT Cats is getting a reboot. Awesome. Just posting again to be safe. Omar Virgin River Christmas special comes out tomorrow. Well, clear my schedule, baby, because that's what I'll be doing. Be drinking some hot cocoa, crying. Man, Jack gets shot. I can't remember if Jack got shot again. Is anyone checking out Godzilla -1 this weekend? I can't wait to see that. May take my youngest to see that. She liked the 2 Godzilla movies we watched together. Let's see. I saw Airbender, Omar, Amanda. Okay. Anything else before we wrap up tonight?
Nope. That's all I've got.
Anybody got questions, thoughts, feelings? Let them out now.
Anyone? Nope. In the chat.
3, 2, 1. There's a little bit of a lag. 3, 2, 1. Biker Mice is coming. I didn't know about that. The movie, Kane, is this what's happening? Street Sharks and Biker Mice from Mars.
Wow.
Like, are they making movies or are they making TV shows? What are they making here, Kane? Produced by Ryan Reynolds.
Of course it is.
Wow. Godzilla -1 is 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's give it some time. Let's give it some time. Remember how Paddington 2? No MCU. No, because everything I've seen is really making me mad. People love posting rumors and then hating on said rumors.
Yeah.
And I can't stand that when people do that. And then they share it with me. And I'm like, why are you so angry? It says it's a rumor. Like, who cares right now? My favorite one that got a lot of people upset is the rumor of Lizzo as Silver Surfer. And I was like, why am I even replying back to this stupid? I'm like, it says it is a rumor, and this is what people do to get clicks. They make you mad. You get mad. You go and see their video or read their article. They get your click, and then you're still angry after watching it because they have no idea. Because every insider that knows about this stuff has been wrong. Like, there is no announcements yet. So no MC. I don't think we have MC. I mean, outside of what? Deadpool 3 will be the only movie next year from the MCU.
Comes out early January.
And Agatha, right?
Yeah.
Agatha comes out in October. And that's it.
Yeah. And I think they keep renaming the Agatha show. So at this point, I don't know what it's called. Because they keep renaming it.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, it's not Coven of Chaos. Or is it Coven of Chaos now? It was like the House of Harkness. Then it changed. Now it's the Darkhold Diaries. Is that the new one?
I thought it had been the Darkhold Diaries for a while.
I thought they had made it the House of Harkness, or that it was something of Chaos.
It doesn't matter. My favorite Doctor Doom stories were Luke Cage gets his cake. Yes. Give me my money, honey. Oh, I love that story. It was like, what was it, like $50? Man, are you going to be drunk while you review The Last Airbender? That is a really good question. And it is the holidays.
It is the holidays, possibly.
Things are moving on the majors trail, not guilty. Huh, interesting.
There we go.
Well, we'll see how everything pans out. Man, people just find things to get mad over. Come watch TV and read comics. I know, right? There's so much in this life to get angry about. Getting angry over who gets rumored to be in a movie. My goodness. X-Men 97. When is that hitting?
It's a good question. It should be next year. I know What If is next year.
Oh, right. What If?
Yeah, don't forget about your favorite.
I did not like the season 1, but I'll be happy to review season 2.
It's still saying early 2024. There is no official date yet on X-Men 97.
No official date. Okay. And I thought What If was this year. We ain't got much time. We ain't got much time left.
Maybe it's
yeah. What If it's December 22nd?
It comes out around Christmas. That's right.
One episode a day? Is that what they're doing, or something like that?
I think so. Yes, they are one episode a day is what they're doing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
I guess we shall see.
We shall see.
If we have time to review that. I mean, we may have to shift Amanda's birthday to review What If. Maybe.
I'm sure you're looking forward to that.
Shifting your birthday? Never. Here's some TV news, Omar. You can now get a discount for Paramount Plus with your AARP membership. James, you can go straight to hell. I am not an AARP member. Thank you very much. 9 days straight. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, apparently they're showing. Well, hold on. If they start the 22nd, then they can't show one a day, right? Because that won't be. But maybe by the time New Year's rolls around, they can show one a day.
Yes, to the new year. Yes, that makes sense.
Yes, I think Christmas. I think watching What If. Yeah, me too.
Yes, don't we all?
All right, Panda. Anything else for tonight?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay. Well, won't you let these fine folks go home? I don't know. Sign us out. Sign us out. You hit that end. All right.
Sounds good. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at nearmintcon. Remember, check us out on Spreadshop for some great near mint condition merchandise, and also check us out on Patreon for $1 a month or more. You can support us here in what we do and also get some cool perks along the way. And last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint. Good journey to all our one, and we will see you all next week.
Bye, everybody. Thank you all so much.
The hidden. Okay.